Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we are on episode 18.
Woo, woo.
Here we go. I can't believe we're at episode 18.
You say that every episode. Like,
do I really? Is it getting old?
At some point.
Like old, like your quote of the week?
My quote of the week is never old. My quote of the week is genius every time. That'll never grow old.
I have to agree. It's kind of growing on me.
Good.
So, and obviously our listeners like it because I haven't heard anybody say anything negative yet.
That's true.
Or maybe they're just really nice.
It could be that they're really nice because we have amazing listeners. But it's also the internet, and I feel like people don't hold back with their opinions.
That is true. That is true. All right. Well, hey, let's get moving. Episode 18. We're now in mid-October. Q4 is here. It's not rolling. Like, I'm not seeing tons of sales, but that's normal. But you should be prepping, right? Are you prepping?
Yeah, constantly prepping, sourcing, buying stuff. But yeah, I remember even earlier this week, I sent you a text message. A little bit of hesitation from me when I'm, buying certain things and I'm not getting sales yet and I'm not seeing prices going up as quickly as I'd like on eBay. And I kind of texted you and said like, hey, was this a bad buy? And you had to remind me like, we're just barely into October, right? But I don't have the experience of a Q4 yet, so I don't really have exactly how it plays out.
No, I get that. And I feel that too. I remember last year, and the reason I don't feel as bad as I did in previous years, because I do remember this feeling. Like last Q4 and the Q4 before that and the Q4 before that. I remember October, you just start getting this feeling like you get antsy, like you want to see the sales coming in, and then they don't. And then it's funny to me because Amazon actually the last 3 days has been kind of slow for me. I still have sales, but it's nowhere near Q4 status. And so you got to remember, it's not till after Black Friday.
Right.
And if you want to feel better, go to keepa.com. Right? Remember I sent you that chart?
Yeah. That was, I couldn't read it because I didn't understand any of it. But I took your word. I took your word for it. So.
Did you notice the spikes?
Yeah, spikes are good. I know that from stuff. So.
All right. So the spikes, showed that right after Black Friday, the sales were kicking in and prices were rising. So, hey, so have hope. You're not hustling for no reason. The big thing is make sure you're buying stuff that will sell, right? That's high ranking on Amazon. That, on eBay, you're already seeing the trends of sales, but don't be afraid to pull that trigger and have sales now, right? If stuff is peaking, even now would be the time because, you hold on too long and what happens?
Yeah. And even I was thinking beyond just that, obviously you never know when that peak is, right? Like you can look at previous years and kind of hope, but if you're hoping for a little bit more, you might not get it. And, we talked about Q4 kind of sometimes being fast nickel. And so, there's my wife and I talked about like certain items. It's like, okay, if we can turn around and get, whether it's $15 or $20 per item, even though it's not the ROI we might like, but if we can make them quick and then go out and get more stuff, it can be worth it.
But the turn and burn scenario is the way to go. That's one of the things I had to learn the hard way, right? And I don't need to go into all those toys anymore. I think we all know. I still get, by the way, thank you guys for those DMs and those comments where you just throw in a random jab with the fingerlings and Lubabellas. Really appreciate them. I guess we've made it pretty clear like what happened the last couple of years. So what I will say is, again, sell those items. Even now, if you're getting offers and it's going to be a pretty good margin, that's okay. You'll have more capital. So that's good, Mike. Appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. So tell me what's going on since last time we talked. Because remember, you had said your goal was to get to 500 listings. Now, I know that wasn't in a week.
Right. Yeah, that would probably be impossible.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would have had a ton of sales if you posted 500 listings in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that would have, I'd be extremely happy with myself. But so if you guys watched the video my wife and I made where we purchased that box of 100 clothing items. They were mostly shelf pulls from Macy's and other department stores. Some customer returns, there were a handful of those. So we got 100 items. Plus before that, my wife bought like a mystery box from somebody that had 10 items like that. Oh,
you guys did the mystery box.
Well, it wasn't necessarily a mystery box per se, but so we've talked about eBay Princess. She ordered, I'm assuming, several pallets worth of stuff and decided she just didn't have time to go through it all. So she just boxed them into boxes of 10 and then just sold those on Poshmark. So we bought one of those. So we ended up with like 110 items overnight, basically, right?
That's so crazy.
And so our thought was like, okay, this is going to take forever. But we knew we had to do it. It's one of those things like we refused to let it become a death pile. So we didn't get to like the 500 listings, but we got all 110 of those items listed within a week
On Posh.
on Poshmark. Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys going to cross post at all?
There's a few of them we're gonna probably cross post. Like we've got some shirts. Like there's like Lady Gaga. There's some Tupac and Biggie shirts and things like
Are
that.
you putting them together?
Yeah, probably we'll bundle them together. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, Tupac and Biggie, and that somebody with a sense of irony will make that purchase, right?
So tell me, how do you feel about cross posting? Because I'm kind of up in the air about cross posting. What are your thoughts?
I feel like with two platforms, it's manageable, but there's been a few times we've been a little nervous.
I thought you almost said Tupac.
Oh, Tupac.
No, anyways, go ahead.
Two platforms. So we're mostly just on Poshmark and eBay. So I think it's doable. I think if we were trying to do Mercari also, which, you know, it was okay for us testing it out, but we feel that eBay and Poshmark are very, you know, it's time consuming. So we're kind of sticking with just those two for now. And yeah, I mean, we realized that it can be scary at times, but we're pretty active on our phones. And so when we see something sell, it's just quickly get it off the other one as soon as possible. But you never know.
Okay. I'm going back and forth because I did do the Mercari, right? So to give you a Mercari update, 0 sales. Did you get any sales on Mercari?
I did not get any sales.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what killed me is that, and again, I know I sound like a new seller, right? You know, wow.
My phone is blowing up.
Somebody knows that right now we are doing a podcast and they're just DMing us. So the issue with a cross post, well, okay, let's go back to Mercari. So it's kind of like new sellers, you know, they put 10 items, they're like, oh, I didn't get any sales, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of me, right? I have a few items I put up, I got a bunch of likes, and I didn't get sales. But you know what I noticed is my eBay sales are doing really well, right? It's not fully Q4, it's Q4, but I mean, you're talking about several $100 days, and it's like, do I really want to spend that time?
Right.
Right. That's what it's about. And maybe if I'm out and about, or if I'm, you know, pumping gas or something, and I have a full tank, and maybe I want to post 2 items real quick, or I'm waiting in line somewhere, but I'm just not finding the time. And so that's kind of where my thing is. And this is what I struggled with the first time with Mercari, is that I spent a ton of time and I just wasn't getting the same results because the pipeline wasn't there. And I already have this eBay pipeline. And I'm thinking, why don't I just keep building this eBay pipeline even more? So I don't know what your thoughts.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think there comes a place where you can spread too thin.
I thought every platform we should sell on.
I'm back and forth. I mean, I feel like you need to understand and be in every platform because you never know what's going to be the next thing, right? You don't want to miss the wave. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So, like right now, you not being on Poshmark, I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Wait.
Poshmark
we also have
amazing.
Amazon. Where's that Amazon FBA box?
Okay, so all right, so you're the Amazon guy. I'm the Poshmark guy. But you know, it's been cool, and yeah, getting through those 110 items. Like, I just think of like when my wife and I worked so hard to get to 100 items on eBay.
You were too nice to me. You could have laid into me more about the Poshmark.
Yeah, but you know, you could lay into me more about the Amazon.
Okay, but let me explain why.
Protecting myself.
So the Poshmark thing is just, I'll be honest, it's I actually feel uncomfortable jumping into Poshmark. And I know.
Why? You don't know clothing? Like, you know clothing.
No, I do. It's just, I feel like I would spend a lot of time figuring out the technical aspects of it.
Right.
Like sharing the closets and this and this and this. And, you know, eBay right now, I have my helper, and she pretty much, and I'll talk about this later, she does like probably 90% of everything now.
So how hard would it be to tell your helper to just share 500 items a day? Like, it's really fast. It's almost like playing a video game. You just clicking buttons, click.
You know what? That's a good point. See, I'm so glad we do this podcast. We never have these conversations outside of the podcast.
See, I can, I'll take a cut of your Poshmark sales.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Since I got you into it.
I would say I'd like to take a cut of your Amazon sales, but anyways, all right, okay.
They're not there, right?
So the Poshmark, I hear you. Like, it is definitely rising as far as, you know, popularity, as far as people getting on there. But, you know, I want to talk about this later. I still feel that eBay is just getting beat up because eBay's just been around.
Well, and I don't think that it needs to necessarily be that eBay's getting beat up. Like, eBay is still great for what it is, but Poshmark is great for what it is. And it's two completely separate things.
I agree. But let's wait till the updates because there's some good stuff to talk about Poshmark.
Is there? Good. I
I
love
think
talking about
so.
Poshmark. Yeah.
I mean, theoretically good stuff.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to check out my Poshmark store, 31
Wow.
Treasure.
Wow, you're throwing it out there.
Throwing it out there, yeah. I mean,
Ooh,
we've had a couple people DM and say like, "Hey, I'd like to throw some shares your way." So if you're a Pure Hustle podcast listener, you want to share some of our stuff, I'll share your stuff. You know, that's how Poshmark works.
Wow.
It's a mutual, it's a community, just like this.
You are brave. That's good.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I will tell
31
you,
Treasure.
that is the one thing I do like. Oh no, I like a lot of things about Poshmark from a distance. Is how it really connects people more.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so? If you're sharing closets, you have to like know people.
Yeah, but
right?
if you're because I don't feel like it's that, because you end up getting like, you click on your feed, and if you're active on Poshmark, you're gonna have like on your news when you open it up after a couple hours, like maybe 100 new news items, and it's like 30 different people have shared some of your stuff. So you just click on their closet and share some of their stuff, and it's
Yeah, but what I see is people on Instagram always saying, "Thank you for sharing my closet."
that's true, yeah.
Right? Or appreciate it, da da da. So it's like this very positive vibe. That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's positive. It's good.
Right. Okay. It's
money.
relevant. It's real.
Yeah,
You're
it's
reselling. Okay, good.
It's making monies.
All right. So, all right. So for me, thanks for asking, by the way.
Yeah. So, what how are you doing?
So, you've probably caught this, and I kind of worry that people on IG are eventually going to go, okay, what's Rolando's Insta story? Oh, it's about FBA again. Like, that's been my thing for, I want to say at least 2-3 weeks, you know, hitting FBA hard. And part of the reason is because I have this helper, right? So I don't worry about taking pictures or listing. Like, I do that at night. I probably spend an hour before I go to bed listing some things. And that's pretty much it. And so I am sourcing though for eBay still. I just don't talk about it much. But my goal was to send out an FBA shipment every weekday, and I've pretty much hit that goal. There's only one day that I didn't make, and that's just because I had too much inventory. So next year, I think as I scale, I'm probably gonna have helpers for that next year.
Nice.
I don't think I'm at that place yet this year to be able to do that. Maybe it's because my comfort level is not there. Just because I think it's a little more involved, where with eBay, I can drop off my stuff and I trust this person and she takes pictures and lists them. With Amazon, I guess it's not that hard. I would have to drop off items. I probably would have to start using Inventory Lab, which I don't use. And, she would have to start putting items together, packing boxes. I mean, I guess it's doable. I don't know. Maybe I'll consider it. That's what I like about this podcast. We think through what we're doing.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And hopefully some of you are able to think through with us, because I'm sure some of the things we bring up, you're hopefully thinking about, unless you have it all together and we're just the ones.
And if you do, please let us know. If you have it together, we could use the help.
But it's been awesome. I'm in that antsy mode where if like I've sent easily more than 100 huge boxes over the last 2 weeks. And so... But, the sales aren't showing yet, right? They're not going to show until later. And some of the items I have are they're pretty unique, because there's those toys I talked to you about that I found in a Toys R Us that hadn't been out of warehouse for like 10 years. And so that's going to take people looking specifically for Christmas for a specific buyer. And I've sold some of them. I sold one item that I paid $6 for $65. And another one that I paid $6. I think I sold 8 of them for $50 a piece.
Wow.
So it's been pretty sweet ROI.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
And I always tell you this, like, if you can control the market on an item, it's good. And that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm sure somebody else out there has this stuff too. So I know do you want to know what it is?
Are you ready to share it?
No, I can't do it. I just can't.
Oh.
I don't want to sabotage.
But is it even something someone could go out and buy right now?
It's the unknown. Like, is it possible that somebody else in this entire country ended up finding these same items?
But if they found them, they probably would have already bought them, right? Because they probably weren't the same sale you got, so they're not going to get the same ROI.
Very possible. I just don't. I mean, in time I'll share, but it was one of those things where I am like the only person on Amazon selling them.
That's wonderful.
No, it's beautiful.
It's almost like it's like a private label almost, right? Like,
it kind of is. It's either that or I'm the only FBA seller, which still gives me a leg up. So it's been good. All right, you ready to share some random stories?
Yeah, let's do it.
you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Why is it? You realize I'm always first, right?
Yeah, it's because I got better stories.
Oh, great, thanks. Well, you know what? If that's the case, might as well go down that road. So I got two stories here. They're like one story tied into two. Oh, wait, two stories tied into one. I've been out of education for 5 months.
It wears on you.
It does it really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So a lot of you saw this in the Insta story, and I finally got the answer. I guess I kind of subconsciously was looking for, because I noticed that Target, was always having this like limit on items, and maybe it's a reseller thing. But I also noticed that people, whenever I had my cart full, it always drew attention more than ever before. Like in previous years, I would have carts full, but usually, I would never have the Target associate come up to me and go like, "Can I give you a hand?" Or how they do that, like they randomly stop you. And it seems like I get it all the time now. And sure enough, you saw this in Insta story, so I'm going to kind of give you background here. So I go to this Target and I'm loading up my cart. So I got all kinds of toys. I got, usually when you're reselling, you buy 10 of the same or more. And so I bought a ton of items and my cart's full and I'm walking around. And a lot of you don't know, and maybe you do, maybe you've heard me say things, but I used to work assets protection, which is loss prevention, which is, you catch shoplifters. So you're in plain clothes, okay? And most of the time in Target, you're in the camera room the entire time. And cameras in Target are legit. Like there's not an area of Target that is not covered by cameras. And I'm going to give too much, but they do have these things called PTZs, which are pan, tilt, zoom. So they basically can turn any which way and they can zoom as close enough to like read your credit card.
Wow.
And this was when I did it 15 or so years ago. Okay, so the technology now is far better.
Yeah, they got the like facial recognition programs you see on TV, like inside of casinos and stuff. With like,
who knows? I just know when I worked there, I mean, every transaction, like I could see the whole transaction before my eyes while I'm watching the person.
Wow.
I mean, I could see everything at any point in time. So I say all that because that was my background, and I'm pretty good about spotting people out that are security, because it's really, especially the ones that are new, like rookies, it's pretty obvious. And so I'm walking around Target with this cart of toys, and I keep seeing the same guy over. I'm in electronics. He's there.
Loss prevention.
Yeah, loss prevention.
Yeah.
Right. I go to toys. And here's the giveaway. Like every time I look at him, he'd turn away and walk the other way. I'm like, dude, like if somebody wasn't like security, they wouldn't just like blatantly turn around, right? They're trying to be incognito, but they're being very obvious.
So he was like a terrible loss prevention?
Well, yeah. Well, for two reasons. One is like you at least, okay, that's mean. Terrible's mean. I would say he was probably new, right? I learned like you have to be at least 200 feet away. And I'm not like a small guy either. So I learned how to like hide behind things pretty well. At least I thought I did, right? I only got called out once, and I'll share that story in a little bit. And so by the third time on the Insta story, I get my phone out. I'm like, I think I'm being followed. So part of me is like, okay, I'm going to look crazy if I post this on Insta story, or I'm going to look legit. And sure enough, I see this guy again. And I'm like, I'm going to call this guy out. So I see him walk by. I'm like, assets protection? The dude's face, like he was so like freaked out.
Oh man.
Because I could have been like some shady dude that, was just trying to, get one over on him. So I call him out and he said yes. That was what blew my mind. Like I would have said no. Right? And I share with you a story about when I had to say no when I was assets protection. It's a fun story to tell. Is it okay if I tell that story?
Yeah, go
it's not
for
reselling.
This is our random story section.
It is reselling related, but it's more shoplifting related. So I call him out, and then I go, yeah, hey, and I try to like build this connection, and it was super awkward because I could tell he didn't really want to talk to me, and I was a little nervous because I felt like I did something wrong that I have this guy like following me around. So I said, yeah, I used to work at Target Assets Protection back in the day. But, I got into too many rumbles and I had to get, he's like, yeah, I know what that's about, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I didn't like accuse him directly. I said, it seems like you were watching me. So I left a little bit of room for him. Right. And I said, no, I wasn't, but he was. And he said, well, it's because, we've had a lot of issues. And I'm like, really? Like, well, what do you mean? And he was sharing with me, like, people are like stacking their carts with LOL dolls and Legos and all the hot toys. And I'm like, wow, it's crazy. Because when I worked for Target years ago, people would take like Nicorette and they would like load up a full tote, seal the tote, and like push out the doors. Like we would have teams of like 10 people do this and like 4 carts out the doors. Like it was crazy. And so what he was telling me is that this is what's going on with toys now.
And people are putting stuff inside of toys, or they're just
No, they put it in totes.
And
so they'll grab like 10 Lego sets in a tote, close the tote, and then.
And you had totes in your cart, or no?
No, I didn't have totes in my
cart.
cart.
So I wonder what made him even think.
If in case you're wondering what I just did, I pointed at my face. My face draws the attention I don't want.
Why do you say that? That's like the weirdest. You're gonna have to explain why that is. You have a goatee, like I have a beard, like.
Well, because depending on like a certain pair of sunglasses or if I wear certain clothing, I can appear like an OG, and I don't try to. I never was. Almost, but never was. I did have a 6'4" Impala, but that's a whole nother story. I was in the lowriding.
So maybe you should go to Target wearing like a suit and tie, and then people won't, think twice.
It's sad, but I don't think that's the case anymore.
Huh.
Maybe 10 years ago, but I do notice that, when I would wear my, like, when I was a vice principal, I'd wear like, remember my khaki slacks and my blue shirt and my tie, like never got bothered. But now when I show up with my t-shirt and shorts or whatever, like, I don't know, people bother me.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's right, but it is what it is. We still live in a society where people judge each other by their appearances.
But, if you weren't doing anything wrong and they were just checking, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they, like, stopped you from doing anything, so.
No, and that's the thing. Okay, so to finish that, like, I was comforted knowing that they weren't looking at me for who I was. Like, well, not who I was, but what I looked like. They were looking at me because of what was in my cart.
Right.
They were looking at my actions, and that's what should have been happening. And so that was comforting to me because I get it now. Like, when I worked assets protection, I always made sure to look at products. I never looked at people, right? So if I saw people, someone pick up like 10 or 15 of something, I would definitely keep an eye. If it was 10 or 15 bags of chips, no, who cares?
Right.
If it was 10 or 15 DVD recorders, yeah, I'm going to watch that person, right? And so that was comforting to me. And I shared this in the Insta story because I think a lot of people are, they're in judgment about Target. I'm still a little bit of judgment. They're not the best of fans of resellers, right? Has your mind changed about that?
No, I mean, I definitely have noticed, but I don't know. I just haven't run into issues. I mean, there's the limits on things, but I've never run into like a personal thing where they're like, you're a reseller, get out of our store, you can't come back, right? Like,
I haven't had that, but I've had sorry, you can't buy these to resell. Like I never even said I was a reseller. They just said, we know what you're going to do with this. Sorry, we have the right to refuse your business. And I
would be frustrated if it was like in your cart and you're already counting the profit and then it's like taken away from you.
No, I get that. But again, I always say, don't act a fool.
Right.
Like, just let it go. You're going to go back to that store anyways. Don't bring up that, don't make it that they print out a picture of you. Like, because we did ban people from Target. And if that person stepped in the store, we had the right to kick them out of the store. And we did it a lot. So anyways, long story short, that's what's happening.
Nice.
And that's why, if you notice, have you gone to some Walmarts in San Diego where like the Legos are locked up?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Like I never, and LOLs are locked up. It completely makes sense. So if you're out there, just know they're not hating on you specifically.
They're trying to protect their inventory.
Yeah. And we're not sponsored by Target yet. So
yeah, just to let you know. Yeah, that would be an interesting sponsor for sure.
Can I share my story now?
You got another story? I thought that was your story.
So here's what shocked me. So this guy even told me his name. Now, he could have lied to me, but I said, "Hey, my name's Orlando."
He's got his working alias that he runs.
Yeah, whatever it was. And he said, "Hey, my name's blah blah." We shook hands, and I thought that was strange because when I was a loss prevention person, I never shared my identity. So back in the day, my first day at Target, we had this person we called the Barney Lady. And we called her Barney Lady because she had the appearance of Barney.
Okay.
And she wore a big purple jacket.
Okay, nice.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I could picture that for sure.
And she was easy to spot in a crowd. And this is my first day at Target working as protection. So sure enough, her and this other guy, they come in. I know this isn't a show about shoplifting, but I think it relates. And sure enough, she has these. Remember, have you heard about the foil lines? Like you can line a bag up with foil, and you can get through the sensors.
I've heard of that or what's the electrical tape? I knew people for a while were taking electrical tape and putting them over like the little scanner things.
And quick disclaimer: we're not telling anybody how to break the law.
No, I saw this on like a TV show where they were like showing how people have been caught, and this one lady was stealing from Blockbuster when Blockbuster was a thing, and she was putting electrical tape over their little bar things on that they would scan.
Oh yeah, scan, yeah.
And she just had her house was full of I think it was VHSs and maybe DVDs had just come out, and she didn't watch or sell or do anything with them. She just had like the addiction of stealing from Blockbuster. So
yeah, well, this was kind of the story with this Barney lady. She would come in with two bags, all foil lined, and she would just load them up all the time. And so what ended up happening was as they were loaded up, as she was loading them up, she'd walk to the front of the store. Then she had her accomplice, and he ended up like loading his cart with like 8 DVD recorders. And this was when 8 DVD recorders were a big chunk of change. We're talking about, remember when they were like $300 a piece?
Yeah.
Or maybe
when DVD first came out. No, yeah, for sure.
So DVD,
like I remember when Laserdisc came out, and like my uncle when I was a little kid, and he was like,
Laserdisc.
"Look at this new thing that I've got," and it was like, spent $1,000 on a Laserdisc player.
Okay, so DVD recorders back in the day were like $300, and in California or maybe federally, it's like if you back then if you stole more than $499, it's a felony.
Yep. Grand theft at that point.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is her accomplice was in front of her, and she was walking, and they got to the doors, and they're exiting. And this Target, if you've been to those Targets that have like that hallway, right? They have the first set of doors in the hallway, the next set of doors that goes into the store.
Yep.
So they got there. So just picture it. Okay, you have Barney lady. Right? She has 2 big, like let's say these huge Nordstrom-sized bags that are foil lined, full of DVDs. Okay. Her accomplice in front of her has a cart full of DVD recorders, some stereo equipment, and they're just going towards the door. First day, okay? It was one of those things, I didn't even know how to talk into a radio properly. You know how you're supposed to press the button and then you talk? Like, so I go out there and Sanjay, you're probably not listening, but my partner in crime or in Lost Friends, his name was Sanjay. I'm like, Sanjay, come in, they're going. Radio silence. And I'm like, gotta do it. I can't, back then in your early 20s, late teens, you think you can do everything, right? Yeah. So I go out there and the guy's out, we're in the middle of the hallway, and I go to stop his car, and I'm like, hey, Target, I asked protection, I need you to come back in. I try to get his really deep voice. And he's like, mother blank, I ain't coming back. I didn't do it. I'm like, sir, you need to come back to the store with me. I ain't coming back, and just started laying into me. And so I'm like, all right, well, if you don't come back, I'm going to have to put your hands behind your back. I'm going to have to handcuff you. Right? And so in these stores, you're allowed to detain people. You're not arresting them, you're detaining them. So he refused to come back. And the guy was probably like half my size in height, but dude was like yoked. So what I ended up doing, I grabbed him. I tried to slam him against the wall to handcuff him. And we were just fighting, right? So then I pick him up. Like, I have him in the air, right? Probably like 2 feet in the air, right? So it's like me and Kevin Hart or something like that, right? Some short guy, right? And we're going and we're tussling. He's like, I'm going to stab you. And I'm like, adrenaline's pumping. And I see him reach into his pocket, and he pulls out this thing with a wooden handle. I'm like, oh, it's the first day, and I'm going to get shanked. Like, it was crazy. So eventually I got him off the ground and I body slammed him, right? So I try to, do a little Andre the Giant on him, right? I didn't do any Hogan leg drop. But what ended up happening, I'm like fighting. And then, so Target, if you've ever seen at the doors, they have those guys that check receipts. So 3 of those guys came to back me up. And instead of like trying to get the thing away from his hand, they jumped on top of me. So they dogpiled.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm not a small dude, okay? So this guy's under me. 3 other guys are on top of me. I'm like suffocating, like I can't breathe. This guy's like he can't breathe. I'm like busting his hand because I see this wooden handle. And, you know, he's cussing up a storm. Now there's a scene. There's everybody surrounding us. And it was crazy. Meanwhile, Barney lady is like booking it out the parking lot. My buddy Sanjay runs after her. I don't think we were allowed to run in Target, but, you know, it was our first few days. Runs after her, grabs her in the parking lot. Okay, remember I told you she was Barney looking.
Right.
Okay. This got serious real quick. So he grabbed her jacket, pulled it to pull her down, instead ripped her jacket and her shirt completely off.
Oh, no.
Full, like, you know, chariot to fire through the parking lot with just her bra and pants, gunning it. And I'm like, Sanjay! And I'm like, I'm trying to breathe. And he's like, I'm trying. He's running. And anyways, this relates eventually. So I eventually got the dude in handcuffs. He got arrested. He went away. Barney lady lived to see another day. So Barney lady would hit stores probably 5 times a week, shoplifting. So one day she came to the store and I'm all by myself. Like this guy. This guy was all by himself. And we're in the DVD and I'm trying to fake it like I'm a customer. And she looks at me and she goes, "You security?" And I'm like, I don't know who you are. And I probably said some words I wish I didn't say. I said, who are you talking to? And you better back up. Right? Totally like try to act as non-security as possible. And then it worked.
Huh.
And so I knew that my cover was blown. So, and that's what I said.
But her cover was blown. Like she should recognize that when you get, you know, your clothes ripped off in a parking lot by security chasing you down, that you're probably shouldn't go back to that store.
Yeah, but she was. I mean, they were both. I mean, they were a ring of like people.
Right.
So, because what ended up happening is I just called the police. Like I'm like, I'm not even playing with this. I tell you, the guy that almost shanked me. You know what it was? It was a nail filer.
Huh.
It wasn't a blade. It was nothing. I have no war stories. It was just a nail file. But you don't know. You're like in the middle of it. Adrenaline's pumping. Like, who knows?
I have some crazy stories in my security days.
You too?
Yeah. Well, I didn't do stores, but I've done plenty of bars and concerts.
I got stuff like that too.
But yeah, when I was in like high school, and just out of high school, my cousin and I would purposely go to Walmarts and Targets, and our goal was to go to ones we hadn't been to before and try and find loss prevention, the plainclothes people, and then follow them around the store.
Oh my goodness!
And so
you were
like
one of those guys.
We would like follow them and like hide behind like clothes, and then when they'd look at us, like we'd like be peeking out, and they'd look, and we'd go back behind the clothes, and yeah, it was kind of just a joke thing we would do, and they'd get all upset, but they were easy to spot. I felt like.
So, long story short, Barney lady took off across the parking lot when police showed up. She took a dive into a car, like Dukes of Hazzard style.
Oh.
Didn't make it all the way into the car. Cops stopped the car, and they had this huge bus. Like they went to the houses. House had thousands of DVDs. Anyway, I say all that because I don't understand why this guy admitted to me. You know, like I could have been a big shoplifter, but I wasn't.
But at the same time, really, I mean, I don't know how long ago you were security. When I went through security training, they made, especially in California, they've changed some of the rules, and they want security to do less, and the insurance is like a big deal. So they definitely don't want any physical, like, you know, type of stuff if it can be helped. But the key for security is to be a deterrent, right? So even if you were to say like, admit like, yeah, I'm loss prevention and I'm watching you. If you're shoplifting, that's got to put your heart up into your throat, and you've got to be like, I got to get out of this place. I'm not going to steal anything, which is a win for the store, right? Like, yeah. So it's not always to like, oh, they go to jail, but if they feel like if I walk into that place, they've already got eyes on me. They know who I am. Yeah, it's a deterrent.
No, I get it. So I say all that in the end that it was just interesting that this happened. We now know why people are looking, and you know, just gotta. I guess it always pays off to just still network, right? So hopefully they saw me make my multiple purchases, walk out of the store, and they won't look at me anymore.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You're good to go.
Unless they think my credit card was stolen. But outside of that, which it's not. But
I sure hope not, Orlando. I sure hope not.
But outside of that, it's comforting to know that. All right, I'm done. I think I said way too much. I mean, I can go on and on, but
Yeah. We'll have to have a special episode of just like random life stories that we've had.
I just like when I got bit arresting somebody.
Yeah, I had one lady who was at a bar and she got her finger bit off.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, I got bit, like gnawed, like flesh taken off.
Yeah. One time I tased a guy so much during a bar fight. Yeah, I tased him like for so long. Like, cause I don't know, cause I've tased several people and this guy wasn't.
Tased? Like,
well, it was stun gun, so not taser, so not the one that shoots with the prongs, but the one that you hold in your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, and it had worked every other time I'd used it to the point where the person would immediately like get off the person they were fighting and like it would. I mean, it doesn't knock people out, but it definitely hurts enough that it gets their attention. And I kept tasing this guy and nothing was happening. So I'm like jamming it into his side, pushing it really hard and like tasing him, but he's still on top of this guy, just like punching him in the face. And like a month later, maybe it's like 3 weeks later, this guy shows up at the bar and I didn't recognize him at first. And he's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" And I was like, "Oh, wait, you're the guy." And he lifts up his shirt and his entire side is just black and blue still from me shoving the stun gun into his side over and over and over.
You guys like best friends after that or something?
I mean, he was cool. I mean, he was, people do dumb things when they're drunk and.
It's so wild. So I don't think I've ever became friends with any of the people I caught shoplifting.
Well, it's not like we hung out after I got off work.
You didn't go on a garage sale weekend?
No, yeah. We didn't become that kind of friends. But,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, you ready for my random story?
Yeah, go.
All right, my random story.
Is it reselling related?
It is reselling related.
Okay, good. All right. Sorry, everyone, if I kind of veered off too much.
No, that's good stuff. I think people like it. All right, so here we go. I'm like 99% sure that I sold something to an eBayer who is selling to somebody else because he lost or broke or messed something up. So here's what happened. I bought probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago some board games at a thrift store. One of them was Balderdash, and it was the 1984. It was unopened, sealed, really cool. And I had it listed up for like $39. And this guy sends me an offer of $25, which, is too low. Like I wasn't going to take that. So I came back with like, I think like 36 or something. So only just a couple dollars off what I was asking for. And usually the back and forth that I experience is somebody gives an offer, I give a counter offer, and they try and come, back with something else. This guy just immediately accepts it. Like there's no like hassle back and forth. I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then he pays right away. And then almost instantly sends a message and says, "Send it to this address." And he says, "It's a gift." Yeah, he goes, it's a gift, but please don't gift wrap it and don't include an invoice inside of the box. And I'm like, this is not a gift. You know what I mean? Like, just say it. Like, I get that you don't want to come out and say like, "Hey, I sold something to somebody," and but it was interesting because it was like, don't lie to me. Don't tell me this is a gift, but please don't gift wrap it and don't include an invoice and don't. It's like, it's a lot of instructions on how to ship.
No, I know. I get those, and I didn't know that they were like drop shipping people until years later.
Huh.
So, it is what it is. I mean, you still made your money.
Yeah, no, I was happy with it, but it was just funny. To me, it was random because it's the first time I've experienced that. But a lot of instructions. This is a gift item. Please don't gift wrap it. Well, I'm not going to gift wrap anything I'm sending anyways.
Have you run into one that seems like they're an international buyer, but they're not? So like they make you ship to like someplace in Florida or in California, and they tell you to like make sure you write like something on the label. Have you ever encountered that?
Not yet.
Okay, so some of you may have gotten this, but there's like these middleman brokers between like the U.S. and some other country, and what ends up happening is they buy and then they resell or they connect with the buyers in that other country. And what they do is they want you to buy it and they want to buy it from you. And then they want you to like write certain labels because they're not going to open it at all. All they're going to do is they're going to look at it, put it where it's supposed to go and ship it off to that area. So they're kind of like, think of eBay's global shipping, but it's not going to eBay's global shipping. Right. So you may encounter that. And a lot of people think that they're scammers, but they're not scammers. They're just the middleman.
Yep.
So, all right.
Speaking of which, is there a way on global shipping? We get a lot of people that ask us, I want to purchase this. I'm in Russia. I'm in China. I'm in whatever country they're buying it from. What's the cost of shipping? And we always just tell them like, oh, use the eBay global shipping. Like you'll have to work it out through them. And twice now we've had somebody who will purchase the item and then immediately or make an offer and then immediately retract the offer. And I don't know if it's so that they can see what the shipping cost is, or somebody one time purchased the item and then said, "Oh, the shipping is too much through the global. Please cancel my order." So, is there a way that I can direct them to say, like, "Here's how you know how much it's going to cost through global shipping"?
You probably would have to like revise your listing and take it off global shipping.
Take it off global shipping?
Yeah.
No, but they want to know what it's going to cost them.
Yeah,
for
that's what I
global
mean.
shipping.
Like you would have to take it off of that, and then what you do is you go to like the shipping page, and then you change your zip code and put wherever you're supposed to send it to.
That's a lot of work.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like
no,
to
I'm not
me,
doing
it's
that. That sounds terrible.
I've never. I mean, I know a lot of people in Canada. I get a lot of Canadians that, and I know we have Canadians listening. What's up, Canada?
Yo, hey.
And I'm sorry, I know because they message me and they're like, "Hey, can you just ship this, just outside of global shipping because the fees are ridiculous." And I don't feel comfortable. I love global shipping. I've not had one bad experience in global shipping. I mean, I've had several negative feedback removed. I've had stuff break, and eBay has taken care of all of it. So I mean, but you can't. I mean, I know a lot of people that make a lot of good money not doing global shipping. Actually, I just saw Portland Pickers signed up for the Web Interpret program. And Web Interpret program is this website, this company that they'll take all your listings and they will make it into their country's eBay listings, which sounds kind of weird because we already have eBay global shipping, but I guess it's different. And so you can now, like, people are more comfortable buying from you because this company, like, chooses what they think will sell better in that country. And they'll, like, translate everything and so on. So you can do that. You just lose all the global shipping protections. So,
which is nice. I like having protections.
I love it. It's great.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about some current topics. eBay send offer. Oh, wait. I'm backing up from the mic. Didn't you tell me don't do that?
Yeah, stay close to the mic.
I always struggle with that.
Because then the podcast sounds like, and then you come back in, and then it's like, and then you
I
come
know,
back
and then I get really loud. I know, it's crazy. All right, so eBay send offer. You saw those, right? There's some people that have that option.
I don't have it, so.
So you're like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, let me have it, please. Thank you.
I get it. But you know what? What I had theorized, now I'm not saying this to say I'm right. Okay, maybe just a little. But what I theorized was that send offer was not going to work as well as it does in Poshmark.
Why do you think that?
Because my theory is that when you have a lot of watchers on eBay, it's not like you have them on Poshmark. Right? For the most part, people that are liking, is it like on Poshmark?
Yeah, there's liking and then there's also bundling.
Okay, whatever it is, most of those people are wanting to buy your item, right? Or on eBay, it could be competition. It could be somebody.
Speaking of which, are you watching some of my items?
I'm not watching.
You're gonna upset my wife because we look at them and
no,
stuff
I'm not
this
watching.
has a watcher on it.
No,
hey, when we get all excited, I'm like, oh, I bet it's Orlando.
I'm not watching. I do go and look and see how your store's doing. A little stalkerish every once in a while, but no, I am not watching your items. Okay, that would be mean.
Well, it's
but don't get excited about watchers.
I know you've said that before, but it's the little things in life, right? Like burritos and watchers on your eBay stuff. Like there's California burritos. And if you guys don't know what a California burrito is, it's amazing.
Think of French fries.
Yeah, they put French fries inside of the burrito. So it's good. Like carne asada and sour cream and some guacamole and beans and cheese and French fries.
It's legit.
Yeah. California burritos.
Back to what we were talking about.
And watchers on your eBay. It's the little things.
So my theory is that it won't. I still want it. Don't get me wrong. I think it'll be awesome because what eBay's doing it, where if you have like 10 people watching it, the first 10 you can send the offer to all 10 of them, and hopefully one of them will bite.
That might actually work in some ways better because if you know that if that's the only way it can be sent, I'm not necessarily the only way, but if that's the primary way people are doing it, if you're watching something, I mean, kind of like with bids, right? Like as it gets closer to the end, if you see bids happening on an item, it might drive you to like, oh, I need to place a bid because I don't want to lose this chance forever. And so if you're watching something to buy and next thing you know, you get an offer and it's a decent offer and you're still kind of on the fence and you think, well, if I don't take this right now, there's 9 other people who might.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, that sounds awesome. But the other part of it is, what if you only have a few watchers, right? And none of those watchers are actually buyers. Maybe they're kind of like, maybe. Or maybe if I get a raise, or this is kind of cool. I wonder if it's going to sell. Or I wonder if I can sell it for this much. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
different scenarios because I've been DMing back and forth with people that have that option and they haven't had bites yet. Now, it's only a handful, right? Maybe there's other people having a huge success. I still want it. I want immediate payment more than I want that, though.
Yeah, immediate payment would be nice.
Yeah, because I'm still getting hit with those. It still blows my mind that people are comfortable buying something and then not paying. Right? I mean, think about it. Like if I went to Target and I'm like, I'm gonna buy all this, and I just left the store.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had a few things I probably already mentioned on the podcast before, but where it's like, oh, I'll pay you next Friday when I get my check. And it's like, I'm not your layaway,
Those
right?
are the worst. Yeah, those really annoy me. But I give in.
Do you?
Like, all right, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I always do too.
It's a guaranteed sale.
Yeah.
For the most part. But yeah, I hear you. So, anyways, it's encouraging to know that it's being tested. I just hope that it's rolled out for everyone before Q4 takes off, right? Because it'd be the worst if like it's March, right before summer slowdown. I was like, hey, everyone, you all have access to send offers, right? That'd be a little perturbing.
Yeah.
You have a quote of the week yet?
I do have. Are you ready to hear it?
I don't know. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, guys,
let's get out of the way.
This is a moment in history. Orlando asked for the quote of the week. Mark this, put it on your calendar.
I just needed a sip from my drink.
Remember it forever. The moment when Orlando is finally starting to admit the quote of the week is great. All right, here's quote of the week. This one, I feel like I quote a lot of the same people, but that's okay. And I'm probably gonna eventually run out of like work hard quotes, but then I'll just give like feel good quote. Well, they start to get redundant after a while. The work hard, but then I'll just give you like good life quotes, hopefully. But here's my quote of the week this week. This is a Benjamin Franklin quote. Okay, he's full of those. He's got a ton of.
He was a businessman.
Ton of one-liners,
man too.
I don't know why that's relevant to Pure House podcast, but thank you for that information.
I just thought
he was a history teacher, so he was
one of our founding fathers.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so quote of the week: "Lost time is never found, or lost time can never be found again."
Please explain that.
It's great. Okay, so like you have 24 hours in a day, right? Like 24 hours in a day to get as much done as you can. A lot of times we take time to say like, okay, like I'm going to just like, it's not a big deal if I just, these couple of hours watch this movie, or this day I'm going to take this one day off, and I'm not advocating for never taking rest. Like we need rest. But
except until December 18th.
Well, yeah, sometimes less rest, but you get to a point where you think that you can like make up for the time you've lost, but you really never can, right? Like once time has passed, once you've given up that time, the time you lost, those hours you lost yesterday, the hours you lost this morning, you never get those back. And you might work harder in the evening or the next day to try and make up for it. But imagine if you would have worked those hours you lost and then still worked harder I get
it.
So lost time.
I think everybody else out there is tracking with you too.
Yeah.
All right. So you're trying to encourage us to keep working.
Keep working, right? Like
agree.
Don't waste time. Another quote.
Whoa, it's only a quote.
It's a quote of the week. I know, but this one is it's connected. So I used to have on my signature when I worked in corporate America, it was something to the effect of you'll never have time unless you make it, right? It's kind of the same thing. Like you'll never find time. You'll never find I think that's what it was. You'll never find time for anything unless you make it.
That's very true. I agree with that 100%. So, okay. Good quotes.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back to our topics.
We need like
out of the way.
We need like music that plays like quote of the week, like inspiring.
I like our club intro, and we'll keep it there.
All right.
Is it clubbish, our intro?
It's EDM. I think is what people would call it, electric dance music.
Sorry, I'm just an old
electronic dance music.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll get some banjo music for you next time.
Banjo music. I do like Civil War music.
I was right? Banjo music.
I know, I'm a historian. All right. Poshfest just happened like a few days ago.
That sounds amazing, and I didn't know anything about it. And I'm the posh guy. I should know about Poshfest.
So Poshfest is kind of like eBay Open. right? And it's I watched some of the keynotes. I thought, I think Posh does a really good job of connecting people. I think eBay does a good job too, but it just seemed that Posh is kind of very familial. Is that
Mm,
the word for it? Like family, kind
yeah.
of a little bit, especially with the sharing. But a couple of things that came out of it, I guess Poshmark is going international. But before we get all crazy about what they mean by international, like they are starting in Canada, hopefully next year,
Mm.
and then globally. So I don't know how long that's going to be, but that's a good sign, right? Because Poshmark you can't ship anywhere
Yeah,
outside the
no,
U.S.
from what I know, it's just inside the US. But man, let me tell you guys, like Poshmark shipping is the easiest thing in the world. Like every time something sells on eBay, it's like go out in the garage, try and find a box that fits it. Got to print the label out, got to weigh it, you got to put in the numbers, right? Like Poshmark, if it fits in any USPS priority box, envelope, anything, even a bag, like you don't have to use
Yeah, but it's a
USPS.
set number, right?
It,
Like you can't make money on shipping at all.
yeah, it's 6.99. Yeah, well, that's the thing though, is people recognize that, and so, but it's also understood that you don't have to add that. You're not calculating like shipping into your pricing, and am I going to make money on shipping? Am I going to lose some money on
So there's
shipping?
no free shipping on Poshmark?
There's no free shipping on. It's 6.99. The customer pays. That it's not even in your price. Like if you're listing a shirt for $22,
Yeah.
the customer knows I paid $22 plus 6.99 shipping. Now, you can make an offer to somebody. So like let's say somebody likes something. They like a shirt that you have posted on Poshmark. When they post that, or if they like it, you can send them an offer and say, I'll make it 18 instead of 22 and I'll give you 4.99 shipping. Now when you do that, you pay that extra part of the shipping. So it comes
Okay.
out of your profit. So technically you could lower the shipping or maybe do free shipping if you're willing to eat that cost. But for the most part, it's just, and the nice thing is that's the culture of Poshmark. So the customers aren't trying to get deals on shipping, and they're not even like, it's just understood across the board. They buy something at 6.99, and it's basically up to 5 pounds, which is basically any clothing item. So
See,
like,
but I'm the other way. Like eBay allows you that bargaining power with the person. Like today, for instance, today I sold a pair of Doc Martens. I had them up for I think 65 and 11.99 shipping. Okay, these Doc Martens were they're pretty worn, right? So I put them up for 65 because you know me, I always shoot high. And they said they sent me a message, and on best offer, and usually people always have to agree to the shipping,
mm,
but you can always work around that. So they
right.
said, "Hey, can we do 50 with free shipping?" And I said, "Well, I could do 40 and still charge you shipping. It's about the same." And I got the sale, and I just liked it because I had that wiggle room.
But I mean, it's almost just semantics at a certain point because your profit was 40 if it costs you 11.99 to ship it, right? And that's the other thing too with
No,
Poshmark.
but see, I know that it's not going to cost me 11.99.
Okay, so you make a little bit of money off the shipping, but if you're doing Poshmark, you just recognize that the shipping is just not even an issue, right? Like
No, I
it's
see that side.
6.99.
I'm always a fan of being able to have as much ability to kind of make your sale.
But if it's bought, because when you think about it, it's a total price, right? 11.99.40. So what's that? 51.99 was the total price
Correct.
minus your shipping cost.
Correct.
So if it was Poshmark, just put it up for $50 and you're still gonna make the same amount.
True. True.
Put it up for 45. Tell them $45, they pay 6.99 shipping.
So
You still end
okay,
up
so
with
I
the
see
same
what you're
amount.
saying, semantics.
Yeah, it's semantics. But the other thing though, Poshmark does take 20%. They don't take 10. So there's that. There's also they don't have the PayPal fees, their own program. But I tell you that the shipping for Poshmark, it's truly the most incredible thing.
I feel like you and I are like totally like endorsing both companies.
Poshmark and eBay.
Yeah, because I'm still a
Well,
big,
we're making a lot of money off them.
we are. I mean, eBay's been really good to me. I mean, I've had some good sale days the last few weeks, and so I can't complain about eBay. And I keep saying this, like I feel that eBay is definitely part of our culture, and that's why I think it's still going to win because people just think of eBay. Now, I said this last. We're not going to go into this, anyways. I think eBay is getting beat up. I do for good reason. Like they need to get their act together. on a few things like, pay right away and send the offer. But I still think that a lot of people are still going to eBay.
Sorry, that's me. I need to turn my vibration off. Um,
You have a sale?
It's offers. Got an offer on a backpack.
All right, good for you.
See what they're offering.
So I'm gonna keep talking while you do that. All right.
While I do work,
I'm gonna talk about how much eBay is better than Poshmark. Mike's not even listening when I say that.
Yeah, and our listeners aren't listening either.
Except right now, you're dealing with an offer on eBay, by the way. So no, I honestly, I think they're both awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm comfortable with eBay. I think Poshmark is great. What I really love, this is a great point that I heard about from the president or the CEO of Poshmark. He said that we have the ability, and don't quote me, a lot of you saw his keynote. He had mentioned something of the fact that Poshmark, through the sharing of closets, allows people to be more connected, something to that effect. And then you're not paying for promotional listings, right? That's huge.
Yeah, no, that's one nice thing too is you can list, like we listed, like I said, in 1 week we went from, I think we had like close to 70 items in our Poshmark store already. In 1 week we added 110 items, which is crazy because remember, I was ecstatic when I got to 100 items on eBay, right? I added 100 items in under a week on Poshmark. So I didn't have to worry at all about now I have to pay for a store, I have to upgrade to a higher amount so that I'm not paying for listings each month. Like those are just up there. I can add 1,000 items. I could add 2,000 items as fast as I can, and I'm not paying for anything until they sell.
See, but I think there's another side to that. I know you're like, where are you going with this, Rolando? So if time is money, how much time are you spending sharing closets, right? Because I'd rather drop, the 3, 4, 5, whatever amount it is to have a store where eBay's promoting my stuff to pay for the promoted listings, so they're putting it out there more than share closets.
That's fair enough, but here's what I've noticed. So we recently got, it might be a relatively easy thing to get on Poshmark. I don't know how many Poshmarkers get it or how long it takes them to get it. But we got Poshmark ambassador like status on Poshmark. So we've met certain metrics. And to be honest, like I got to give 100% credit to my wife. She's the one doing 95% or more, 99% of the stuff on Poshmark. I just help a little bit. I do some sharing. She does the majority.
That's pretty fast. How long have you guys been on Poshmark?
I don't remember exactly how long. It's a couple of months. It hasn't been.
That's pretty good. I don't know how what it takes or how long, but I've seen some people that have been doing it longer, and you got there pretty good time.
Yeah, we got, and here's the thing with that. So we got the Poshmark ambassador, and so as we were looking at that, I was looking at different metrics because it shows you breaks down everything. And we do share quite a bit. So it's like when there's free time, we're sharing. People have shared our stuff. We share their stuff. There's Posh parties where it's like, and Posh parties make it really easy. So it's like, might be a Posh party and it's like winter gear or dresses. And so then you just go through.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you go through all your listings and you just share all of your dresses to the dress party. And then anybody's looking for dresses, like all of them are just being like put up on the, so it doesn't take long. Like I really look at it's almost like a video game. Like you click on the person, you look through the items, like, oh, these are cute tops or whatever. I feel always weird when I say stuff like that. You click it, you share it to your followers, and you look at a couple more and you share, and then you go to the next person and you share, you go next. And it's just like button clicking on any video game. Like, I'm planting my corn that's gonna grow, like those video games. It's just like you're pushing buttons. And we are, the metric tells us we're in the top 10% of Poshmark sharers.
But maybe it says that to everybody.
I mean, it could be, but that would be interesting. But if that's true, and I think it probably is relatively true because we share a lot. And what I've noticed, I mean, just like with eBay, there's a lot of people who will do a little bit. There's not a lot of people who are going to do a lot.
Yeah.
And when it comes to like any kind of company, organization, any kind of hierarchy structure, there's going to be people at the top and the top 10%, and then the top 1% of that 10% are getting 99% of the money. They're getting 99. Like we see that in every economic structure. You see that in sports teams. Like it's the top percentage of the top percentage that do the
1%.
Well,
I'm just joking.
But that's normal. Like in every system, in every structure across humanity, there's these kinds of hierarchies, and it's the top of the top. Even for like musicians, like only like 10 songs of somebody who's like the famous musician is like really famous, and they might have 200 songs, but it's like 10 songs are known. So there's always this like hierarchy, and to be at the top 10% already tells me like we're doing something right. And if we can keep doing that over the next couple of years, then it's going to come to a place where we don't have to share as many people's stuff anymore, because we're going to have tens of thousands of followers and people are sharing our stuff. And you work really hard to build that platform, and then once you have it, it kind of takes care of itself. So you just have to build that engine, and then once that engine is built, it runs. Okay. And the nice thing is I like that it kind of takes effort and work to build that engine, and it's not like pay to win type of a thing, almost like video games, right? Like there are video games that are pay to win, where people are buying gyms on their little
loot boxes.
Loot boxes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, and that's the thing. See, I'm the other way. Like I get it's just button pushing, but it's maybe I'm not lazy. I know I'm not lazy, but there's a part of me that I love eBay, like listen and forget it.
Yeah. Well, I like that because you're not a competitor on Poshmark, and we'll have fewer competitors because people aren't willing to put in that work.
That's true. But again, like I
will run the Poshmark whole industry if I can, right?
Maybe if Amazon didn't exist, I'd be full on Poshmark.
That's true. We just each have our things.
There you go. All right. So, and the next thing, they're doing a save draft Poshmark. That's what I heard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like that would be nice,
right? Because right now, what do you do? Like, if you have a listing and you're not done with it, what happens?
I don't know. As soon as we haven't ran into that yet. That happens all the time with eBay, but listing things on Poshmark is relatively simple. So
okay.
I haven't had the issue where it's like, okay, like I'm going to come back to this one later. It's kind of just like, it's a really quick process.
Or set up a bunch of drafts. Like what's nice on Mercari, you can do it too. eBay is like you set up a bunch of drafts. Mm-hmm. And so whenever you got a certain item, you just go to that draft.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying.
Right? Or like I do sell similar. I don't do drafts. I just go to sell similar. So if I have a Nike pair of shoes, I just go whatever Nike I'm selling, sell similar, change a few items, put the pictures, and I'm ready to go. Mm. So I listen. I was going back and forth with somebody on a DM about Poshmark and eBay, and it's funny because I am not the eBay spokesperson. I'm not endorsed. I think Poshmark is doing an excellent job. I got to give it up to Poshmark. I was impressed by what I saw on like the little keynote and what they were talking about, because I get the sense that eBay has already done a lot of this work, right? So, people are like, yeah, Poshmark's, getting it together because they're going to go international and they're doing this. Well, there was a time when eBay was doing that too, right. And everybody was like, hey, look what eBay's doing. Yep. Do you get what I'm saying? And so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I always felt like that with like the Apple Android debates, when like a new feature would come out on an Apple and people would think like, oh, this is so incredible and revolutionary. And it's like, well, Android has had that for like the last 13 months. So,
okay.
But
like
people,
eBay
so
global shipping. Like to me, eBay global shipping is one of the best reasons to do eBay. Mm. I mean, think about it. Nowhere else can you sell something and know that after it hits a certain point, like your responsibility is done. Mm. Right? Once it gets to Kentucky, if it breaks, if you get bad feedback.
And shipping is cheaper to Kentucky. Like they must have, what I've noticed, and it might be different if you're using USPS or if you're using UPS or FedEx. Okay. But we use UPS a lot, and really heavy big boxes go to Kentucky for the global shipping. Very inexpensive, and I think it's because they have a warehouse where it's like they don't need a lift gate for the trucks. It's just cheaper.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've sent some big items through UPS, and it's been good for me. Yeah. Okay, next topic here. So Gary Vee came out with I guess he's having a new show like on YouTube called Trash Talk. And the reason I bring this up is because I started seeing this on the comments. So he had posted on Instagram and on his video, and a lot of people are like, they love him, right? Like, Gary Vee, you're awesome. You're a boss. Can't believe you're out there. Thanks for representing us. Appreciate it, love it, da-da-da. And he's going out there, and I've sent you some clips, and he's going out there, and he's actually like, he's picking up plush. That's like his thing right now.
Huh.
Picking up plush, and then he's trying to flip it on eBay. I think he gives it to his brother-in-law, or I think his brother-in-law, or brother, I could be wrong. And he flips it on his eBay store. And, it's funny because, he's talking about, I bought this for $1 and I flipped it for 15. Which, I think it's good to start that way, right? Eventually, you kind of got to get your margins up and source differently. But why I bring this up is because I'm wondering where this is going to take reselling.
Yeah, is it going to flood the market?
See, and that is what some people are saying. Like, okay, so again, there's people that love it. Hey, fist bump. You're the man, Gary. And then there's another group that's saying, this is fake. Like, you only sell things because you're Gary V. And I actually commented on some of them. I kind of said, no, it's because the market demands it. Like, because they don't, I mean, if it's not Gary V's store, like they're not, there are some things like he signed a camera with D-Rock that he picked up flipping that he's going to put on eBay. Okay, that's going to sell because it's Gary V. Right? But I don't know, FAO Schwartz giraffe that he put up to sell, like, no one's going to go like, oh, that's Gary V's giraffe. You know what I mean? So then there's the people that are saying, oh, I tried reselling. There's no way you can make money. I think about there's still people that are naysayers that go like, that flipping game, that's all staged. Like, you can't do it. Then there's the other group of people that are saying, yeah, you're going to kill it for all of us. Like, you're putting this info out there and now you're making it mainstream. It's going to hurt our businesses. I want to know, where do you land on this, Mike?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things, like, I'd like to, only time is going to tell. Even with how long Gary Vee is going to be pushing this and doing this. I mean, Gary Vee doesn't do anything halfway, right? Like, he's into this, but he's also runs multi-million-dollar companies. And so I think right now, Gary Vee's thing, from what I gather, is he really wants to help people, right? Like, he wants to show people how they can be successful in life if they're willing to work hard, which is what we're trying to do. And obviously, we don't have the same platform that Gary Vee has. But yeah, I mean, he's probably going to drive short-term tens of thousands of people into trying reselling. But
you think drive or just inspire?
Maybe both, right? Like, I feel like there's going to be those who, I don't know if there's a huge difference between the two terms there on that.
Well, I see drive like actually going out there.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Inspires, like, that's awesome, I'm going to do it. And then back to Fortnite.
Exactly. No, and that's what I think is probably going to happen for most. I feel like it's probably going to inspire tens of thousands of people to try. And then of those, only a fraction are going to be willing to put in the work. So yeah, that might actually increase the competition substantially across the board, but probably not as much as everybody who starts for a few months and tries it. Because any of you who've been doing this know how much work it is, right? If you listen to the podcast and you're willing to put in that work, this isn't just easy, quit your day job tomorrow type of work. And I think it is good for people to see, because a lot of people probably aren't going to be able to make a living doing it. But if you're living at your parents' house, or you can't keep a job because just the market has been bad for you for whatever reason, and you can get a little bit of hope and say like, hey, I can go out and work hard and get a little bit of money and do this stuff until you get your feet back under you, and maybe teach some kids just discipline and respect and business. And then they take that and then they go join another company or do something else. Like, I think it's going to help a lot of people, which is, I think, great. Will it flood the market with resellers long term? Probably not. Will it flood it short term? Maybe, which might be negative. But remember when I first started, like, I got lucky with some things that I was buying. But I feel like a lot of people are going to go out and they're going to try, and they're not going to do the research. Right? Well, they're not going to listen to Pure Hustle Podcast episode 3 and do the right research
and get baned.
And they're going to get totally baned out there, and they're going to say like, this doesn't work. Like you said, a lot of people think, oh, stage doesn't work, because it does take time. And I say anybody who's willing to take the time to research, do the work, go out there, hustle, list, take pictures, ship, good for them.
Yeah. See, I'm still the kind of persuasion that it doesn't matter like who pushes reselling. Like, yes, I will agree that things did get flooded. Like, I've talked about Harley Davidson shirts and certain Hawaiian shirts. Like, when Thrift Hunters, there was a show that came out on A&E with Jason Smith. I can't remember the other guy. I feel terrible. I feel really bad. Anyways, they had the show and they would resell. And I'm sure like people like me were inspired by that and went out there and actually did it. But it takes a hustle. Right. So not only does it take a hustle, but it also takes like you willing to not only go out there and look for stuff, but pick up the stuff, right? Do the research, go back home, take pictures, list it, pack it, ship it. Like there's a process to it. And on top of that, there's so much out there still,
Yep.
right? I'm not selling Hawaiian shirts like I used to. I remember I would sell Hawaiian shirts for 50 to 70, certain ones. Like I probably would have 5 or 6 sales a week on those. Right now, it's probably once every 2 weeks I'll sell a Hawaiian shirt. Sometimes it's like a month. Right, but then there's other items that I've picked up that I make a killing on now, right? That I'm still picking up for $5 and selling for 80. Like the stuff is still out there. I think what it'll do is it will bring greater attention, but like we've noticed, like I would say the reselling community peaked maybe 5-6 years ago, as far as on YouTube. Like there were tons of people doing YouTube. There are, a lot of people going out there reselling. And then a lot of those people aren't there anymore, right? And you don't see as many videos as you used to, right? You don't see as many collaborations as you used to. That's one thing I noticed that there isn't a lot. There used to be like every reseller would have collaborations, and I just don't see them anymore. But the reselling game is still here. Like I'm still making money. I'm still able to go full time. You're still making money. Plenty of you out there are still making money. I just think I think it'll be good for all of us because what it does, it makes people look at us seriously. Right? Do you still get like people ask you like, what do you do? And they like think you're crazy?
I'm big on.
Maybe it's good that they think we're crazy.
I'm big on like action or the results speak for themselves. So
you're rolling your Lamborghini and you're like, this is what reselling got me?
That would be amazing. No, but I mean, in my life, I've probably been into like 100 different hobbies, right? Like I spend so much money on random hobbies. And as you guys know, if you've ever had any kind of hobby, like when you're passionate about something and you're interested in something, you do research, you want to talk about it every chance you get. And I kind of thought reselling was going to start as just a hobby. And it's turned into more, and it's turned into the thing that's kind of sticking because it's a way of life. It's an income. It's all of these things. And so, yeah, I mean, I have a full-time job. My wife has a full-time job. And so it's not like, I'm sure if I just told all my friends like, hey, I quit my job and I'm a full-time reseller now, there might be some like, whoa, like, what are you doing? Right. Like, and so I'm sure you feel that a little more, but for me, when I tell people like, yeah, I'm selling stuff on eBay, and sometimes I just show them like the 60-day total just for fun. Like I'll just pull out my phone and be like, yeah, look at my, this is the last 60 days. And I just show it to them. And almost every time it's like jaw dropping. It's like, and wait, you made that much money on selling stuff on eBay? And then so I almost look at it as it's like, not that I want to brag, but like the numbers speak for themselves, right? Like if I was like, yeah, it's my 60-day total and it's like a really low number, people might be like, wow, it sounds like a lot of work. But it's not a low number. And so, yeah, people look at that. And so I think it does add some validity. But yeah, I think if I were to say like, hey, I'm giving up my job and I'm going to do this full time, I'd probably have a little bit of reluctance about telling people what I do just out of fear.
Welcome on my world.
Yeah, out of fear of like, what are people going to think about it? Because right now people think it's like, well, that's a hobby that makes you a ton of money. But if I were to say it's my full-time job, so what about you? So like that is where you're at now. Do you find that
no one takes me seriously? I mean, those of you that listen and follow us, like you get it. But when I'm out and about and people ask, I usually try to kind of massage it a little bit. I go, I do e-commerce, right? Or I have an online business, right? And then they ask for the details, and I say, well, I sell on Amazon and eBay. And they kind of look at me like, kind of like, do you need help? Like I had one person actually call me and go, hey, I got all these connections. Like if I need to find a job for you, like I'll help you out.
Maybe you can phrase it something like, not that there's any shame being a reseller, right? Like I'm not trying to say there should be shame.
Real. Like this is what we do.
But maybe there's a way, how like, what's the term that like it used to be called janitor, now it's like maintenance manager, right? Yeah. Like there's a certain title that you use. So like, I don't know, maybe you're like a distribution expert or distribution manager or something like that, right? Like,
but that's what I love about what Gary Vee's doing. Like you got a $200 million CEO and he's out there
At a
doing the
garage
flip
sale, yeah.
at garage sales.
Yep.
Right? And I mean, the part that cracks me up is like he's in his Range Rover, right? Which I would never roll in a Range Rover because I know that my negotiation power is out the window.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? I mean, rolling your Escalade.
And I love, this is probably really bad of me, but like when there's sometimes like baby stuff or kid stuff at garage sales, I like to mention and talk about my son while I'm buying stuff.
No,
And I never say that it's like, oh, this is for my son, but I'm like, oh yeah, my son's 10 months old and oh, he loves whatever, that. And I never say like, oh, I'm buying this for my son, but like I'm trying to make conversation with customers. And I think that, it helps probably a little bit with the bargaining power.
No, I agree.
It's probably bad of me to do, but I do it.
I don't know. I'm kind of half and half about it. I'm excited. I think it will legitimize a lot of what people do. I always say this, the more resellers there are, the better it is for us. And this is why. People will begin to go, hey, if I want to find good stuff, I need to go to eBay or I need to go to Poshmark. I don't need to go to Macy's or I don't need to go to Forever 21 or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to go online. So it's going to draw more people, more buyers, right? I think it has the other effect where
I think Poshmark is doing that for the younger generation.
It could be true. You're being ageist right now. I'm just joking.
I'm not trying to be, but like I'm just thinking of like, 'cause I'm a high school teacher, so I have somewhat of a pulse on the what are they, Generation Y? Is that the term that they've been labeled?
I don't know.
Yeah, so
I've been out of education for 5 months. I don't know.
So well, they've been Generation Y for longer than 5 months.
That is true.
But yeah, so I have somewhat of a pulse on just that generation and social media. And Gary Vee talks about this a lot. Like it's the future.
Wait. Before you go, what is Gary Vee pushing though on the show? What platform?
Was it eBay?
It's eBay.
Oh, that's nice.
It's eBay. I mean, he does talk about retail arbitrage with Amazon, like some keynotes and stuff, but it's eBay. Anyways, just thought I'd bring that up.
No, that's good. Good for eBay. I hope eBay keeps doing better because I sell a lot on eBay. But, what I'm saying with Poshmark is Poshmark with the closets, it's like they're truly like little boutiques. Like it's like online boutiques. My wife buys a lot of her clothing through various boutiques that are online. And it's interesting when you buy through that because like whenever it's like Christmas time or her birthday and she's like, oh, I have some stuff in my wish list on whatever online boutique she buys through. And I go on there and they run out of sizes really quick. They run out of styles because it's not like a Macy's or an H&M or some place where they have like certain set prints and they've got thousands of the same shirt. It's like they get 13 in of like this specific dress or this. So there's something about that's interesting. It's like, it's a unique, interesting, might not even be a name brand. It's just a cute dress for whatever that means, And I feel like that's kind of what Posh is doing in a big way. Is it's like people have closets and you have favorite closets that you follow. And so if you're looking to buy clothing and you're like, oh, I should buy it online from this, because you're getting a lot of times new with tag stuff or really lightly used stuff.
But that's what I mean. Like, I think shows like Gary Vee or legitimizing more in the public eye that, hey, online is the best place to buy things, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, because it's almost like with Poshmark, it's like we own an online boutique, kind of, right? Like,
no, you're right.
Really what it is.
And I keep saying this, kind of like we said in our very first episode. So if you haven't heard our first episode, we invite you to do that. It's this, oh, by the way, our episode about global shipping is still our lowest listened to one. I don't, like, maybe all of you do global sales, but if you don't, make sure you go to that episode 5.
Yeah.
Wait, is it episode 5?
I'm pretty sure it's episode 5, yeah.
All right. So what I would say, I'm not near the mic right now.
That's okay.
So what I would say is this, is that I wouldn't stress it in the sense that all it's going to do, this is just my theory, I'm not right, okay? It's not going to flood I think there'll be some flooding. I mean, there'll be some areas, but again, it's this idea that it's going to just make it, I would say, more. I'm kind of like in the middle of thought. It could go both ways. It could get a lot of people inspired, and then they go, "This is a lot of work. I'm not going to do this," and then maybe the popularity will wane, right? And you're right, Gary Vee. How often is he going to be able to do garage sales? I mean, maybe if he makes a priority, he'll be able to do it all the time. That's going to be his thing. But, you know, you all know, those of you that are full-time resellers, like, it's a lifestyle. Like, it's a grind. Like, it's not something you can do on the side as a hobby. We'll talk about this in our next podcast about the habits of a reseller. Like, it has to be a lifestyle for you.
Well, I mean, you can do it as a hobby and make money, but if you want to make substantial amount of money, it becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, okay. So anyways, hey, check it out. I thought it was a good video. I thought it was a great way to kind of show garage sales. Well done and edited, and, you know, looking forward to the next few episodes.
Yeah, buddy.
So, all right. Guess who's coming back?
Is it Eminem?
Oh, Eminem. His name is Jeffrey.
Jeffrey? You mean Toys R Us?
Yeah, and according to Twitter, he's traveled around the world and he's coming back. Think about how crazy that is that, like, Toys R Us is coming. You know, when I read the news about that, I was like, this is crazy. And I posted on Insta, so a lot of our listeners are on Instagram. But it kind of just shocked me because I'm like, this is like out of nowhere. And, you know, the way they say, here's what they said on Twitter. Guess who's back? He's been traveling across the globe for the past few months, but now Jeffrey's back. And once again, ready to set play free for children of all ages. Share some of your favorite memories and get ready to make a whole lot of new ones.
As exciting as I'm sure that is for many of you resellers out there, man.
Do you think it's exciting to us?
Well, probably to an extent, but to think that companies let me bankrupt themselves.
Let me read what
and then
people
come
wrote.
back.
Wait. Let me read what people wrote.
Let's hear it.
I feel bad for the employees that work there and had to find other jobs.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right? I feel terrible. So I don't feel bad for the back. So first, some of the tweets here. Hey, so, like, do I get severance pay for losing my job now that you all have the money to stay open, or do I get my job back? Next one. That's insane that you didn't get severance pay. When my last job closed in 2017, I got one. They're going to create. I remember that part where you fired everyone.
Yep.
I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on, and it's just like. And there's some people saying, "Yay, Jeffrey!" And there's other people saying, "That's so messed up."
Yeah.
And there's multiple ways to look at this. There's part of me that it goes, "Thank you for closing temporarily. Like, you allowed me to get some ridiculously awesome, you know, items for super cheap, and now you're gonna come back and there's another place for me to source." But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like you break up with a girlfriend and you moved on and you randomly run into her and those feelings come back. And you're like, do you want those feelings?
That's an interesting analogy there, Orlando, but I think I see where you're going with that.
Right? It's like this. I keep bringing back Saved by the Bell, right? But it's like the Zach Morris, Kelly Kapowski, right? They moved on and they kept getting drawn back to each other. Right?
So you're saying, like, you just can't stay separated from Toys R Us? Like, every time you drive by, you're going to get butterflies in your stomach? And
well, I will tell you, like, it was sad for me. I bring in my son, and when I told my son the other day, you know, Toys R Us is coming back, he goes, "Yay, yeah, we get to go back." And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I get to continue sharing those memories. Now, they're not going to be full-fledged stores. Supposedly, they're supposed to be, like, I think, like, pop-ups or in malls or something. But they kept the brand and everything, and they're supposed to be back in November.
Oh. I mean, if you think about it, it's the brand that was worth the most from that company anyways, right? Like,
yeah.
So.
What makes me sad is I have hundreds of giraffe plushes, Jeffrey plushes, that, you know, if it closed, it probably would have been worth more.
Well, maybe you can look at it as, or they'll become like rare when it's like, this was back when Toys R Us was Toys R Us before they were. I mean, are they coming back 100% the same?
Toys R Us 2.0?
I mean, they've got to be something like back before they closed, you know, or, I don't know. Are they going to keep everything the same? They get to keep the same logo, the same.
I don't know. I think
so they just get to come back debt free.
My hope is that they learn their lesson and they're going to change the shopping experience. Right? Because I remember going into Toys R Us and it was just bad. Like, everything was disheveled, nothing looked organized. Some stores looked like they hadn't changed since the 80s. you know, and I think that's part of what hurt them. But I don't know. I'm excited about another place to source if it works out. But you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Speaking of that, a little bit off topic, but kind of related. Like when you go into stores, and various stores have different state of comfort or cleanliness, or however you want to look
Like
at
a
it.
Target.
Yeah, like Target's obviously nicer.
As much as I don't like Target,
yeah,
like Target always feels
store.
clean.
Yeah. And a lot of them around here kind of like repainted and organized to make them look more like department stores. And
Yep.
yeah, but I remember years ago I read a thing that said that Kmart's were the lowest price per square foot of maintenance than any other store like it in the same category. Like
Makes
most
sense.
stores is like $30-some per square foot they'd spend a year to like for cleaning or like repairs,
Yeah.
and Kmart's was like $4 or something to that effect. Like it was significantly lower than any other store. And you know, they're an offshoot of Sears, so like Sears
Are they
number was
really? I
like,
didn't know
yeah,
that.
Sears and Kmart. Like Kmart is Sears is like overstock type, like they're lower end.
Interesting. Okay. But it makes sense. Like Kmart, like, oh man. Like I don't think good things of when I think of Kmart.
Yeah.
So, okay. No offense if you worked at Kmart or whatever. Okay.
If you own Kmart, we're sorry.
No,
We're looking for sponsors.
Our apologies. Okay. Yeah, we'll start with Kmart. Okay. All right. I think it is time for Hustle of the Week.
We need music for that too, right? Hustle of the Week.
What was that?
I don't know. It's late.
All right. So here's what's happening. We have a lot of people sending us Hustles of the Week now.
That's amazing.
It is awesome.
Keep
we
it coming.
appreciate it. By the way, while we're at it, if you haven't had a chance, follow us on Instagram, Pure Hustle Podcast. On Facebook, we are Pure Hustle Podcast. On Twitter, we are Pure Hustle Cast. If you ever want to get a hold of us by phone, we are 619-738-1170. You can also email us at purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. And you can always direct message us on Instagram. We'd love to hear from you guys. And one more thing, we are on YouTube and our subscribers are growing.
Yes.
If you haven't had a chance, please subscribe, like, comment, hit that little bell next to subscribe so you get notifications when our podcasts are up, or we have a video like his haul video from for Poshmark, or our ride along, which are we doing another ride along soon?
We should do another ride along. That'd be good.
Like a garage sale one though.
Yeah.
That'd
be I'm worried, man. When you're recording at a garage sale, I think it's kind of like driving up with your Range Rover. Like with a camera, like, hey, can I get this for?
No, I get that. And or maybe they're willing to make a better deal because they feel that people are going to watch them.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody wants to be a celebrity.
Like global peer
except
pressure.
for those who don't.
There you go. So anyways, hey, follow us on all platforms, like us. And one last thing, like, I hope that this is bringing value to all of you. And if it's brought value to you, please share. You can hit that share button on YouTube and send our YouTube videos to other people. You can go to podcasts. You can share our podcast with others. I think that's going to be one of the best ways for us to get information out is organically through you guys.
Yeah, please tell a friend. Like, honestly, you probably have one or two people that you know or more that could use reselling, right? That maybe they ask you questions, right? Like, because maybe people come to you and say, well, how do you do this? Like, just tell a friend. Tell a friend about Pure Hustle Podcast because we'd love to expand the community and just get more people involved and help as many people as possible. So please tell a friend. Let us know that you sent somebody our way, and we'll give you, like, thumbs up. It's probably all I can offer you right now. Like, thanks, man.
Give you a shout out.
But we appreciate it.
And we love you guys, by the way. Thank you. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for the shout outs. Thanks for tagging us. I mean, it's fun.
It's awesome.
I'm
getting kind of emotional right now.
Because full-time reselling is lonely.
Yeah.
So I love it. Throughout the day, I never feel alone because there's always people like contacting me and we're talking back and forth, and it's just a good time. So, all right, hustles of the week. Right. Mike, why don't you go first? So what I meant by all that is that we're going to try to share 3 from listeners.
Gotcha.
And then over time, we're going to try to fit them in, but let's shoot for 3 because, we could do a whole show on hustles of the week pretty soon here. So, and these aren't going to be necessarily the top 3. They'll just be the 3 that we thought we'd want to share.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I hope that's okay.
I hope it's okay with me. Hopefully it's okay with you guys. So here we go. The first one. We got Ryan from the Midwest. shared this with us on Facebook. He picked up some vintage Jensen speakers. Okay,
That's up your
so
alley.
yeah, I love vintage audio stuff. It's great. I don't have the room for it anymore, and I live in a townhouse, so my neighbors probably wouldn't like it, but great find. So he picks these up, pays 25.44.
Yep,
25.44.
25.44. Yeah.
Incredible. Okay. I know you know how much he bought them for, but I just want our listeners for a second, just to imagine what they think these sold for. Just for like 2 seconds. Just think.
This is when we need music.
Just think.
Like little Jeopardy music.
Jeopardy's played out. All right, here it is. Here it is. So, $1,500 cash. He barters with this guy that is willing to come down, and the guy ends up paying him $1,875. Is a guy who drove 3 hours across from another state to come pick up these speakers. Imagine driving 3 hours just to go like listen to something. Because with vintage audio stuff, like you got to listen to it to make sure like things are working right. And so like, this guy drives 3 hours, pays $1,875 off a $25 purchase.
That's fire right there. That's a hustle of the week.
That is, I'm a little jealous. I'm very proud of you. I think that's wonderful. One day I'm gonna have a hustle like that. You are the man.
One day, maybe that hustle's right around the corner, Mike. Who knows?
Maybe.
All right, Ryan, awesome job. Seriously, like I remember it was like 11 something at night. I'm like texting you, like, dude, check out this hustle of the week. This is insane.
Unbelievable.
So a lot of props there. All right, next hustle of the week comes from handle name Benediction. I don't know why I said that with an accent, but it's think of benediction, but the second E is an A. Make sense?
Got it.
Okay, that's the handle. All right, so I thought this was awesome. Maybe you should do this one because this is Harry Potter.
My wife would love this one.
Okay, so he picked up for $2 at a Savers. It's just sitting on a shelf. He picks up a Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone Canadian edition, first edition, 6th print, and he flips it for $100 on eBay. That is like, think about it. He didn't even scan it. Like he didn't go to Amazon. He just went to eBay.
That's nice.
That's a hustle of the week.
I always
think about the ROI on both of these.
Right?
With that,
yeah, I always think about that when I'm looking at books. Is like this, because if you'd have just sent that to Amazon, what do you get on Harry Potter book? $14. But like the fact that he was willing to look and see, like, wait a minute, this is a first edition. This is the 6th print, right? Like,
yeah,
you got to actually look. So
you got to know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
too. And it's funny because so I have kind of a financial planner that kind of keeps me organized and so on. And I remember I was telling her stories about I picked this up for $1 or $2. I flipped it for 55. She goes, Orlando, that is insane. Like, do you understand, like, if all businesses ran like that, how wealthy you'd be? And I'm not wealthy. Okay? I make enough to have a living. Okay. And I could do, a trip to Chili's with the boys every weekend or something. Right. But this is why the flip game is definitely a way to level up your standard of living. Like, these are like insane numbers that we're sharing. All right. Let's share our next hustle of the week. And this is from your favorite handle name.
Ooh, Lunch Money Hustle, man.
Yeah, he's back.
Good to see you again.
I don't know what this thing is, but
I don't. That's what I was trying to look it up right now. Let's see.
Why don't we just read it? I'll read it while you look it up.
Okay, go for it.
So, Lunch Money Hustle found for $2.98 at a thrift store this thing called the Natural Point Tracker Head Tracking System. Don't know what that is?
I know what it is.
What is it?
Okay. And yeah, these go for a lot of money. It has something to do with video games where like you wear a headset and this thing will like tell like with the headset like what you're looking at and seeing, and allows you to do like 3D like virtual reality video games.
Oh, wow.
So like if you're doing like a flight simulator or something like that, like as you're looking around, the game is showing you or whatever you're connecting this thing to where your head is looking, so it shows you what to show like on That's pretty impressive. Man, technology.
I know. And he sold it for $110
That's
on
incredible.
Amazon.
let's see, $3 to $110.
Think about that.
That's
So
good
we went
ROI.
2544 to 1,875, $2 to $100, $298 to $110.
And you got to, I mean,
the flip life is real, people. If you haven't jumped in, jump in.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be, when you're at thrift stores, I mean, I found some items like this where it's like you have no idea what it is and you have to kind of like look it up and scan. So if you don't know what something is, don't be afraid to scan it, right? Like eventually you're going to get a good eye for like, oh, that's just junk. But if you just look at a package and say like, oh, this probably isn't worth anything, spend a little bit of time and scan it because that might be that $110 tracking system that you can pick up for $3 because clearly
the best is when you have no idea what it is and you make a lot of money on it.
Because clearly the thrift store did not take the time to look up what it was.
True that. All right, what's your hustle of the week?
Ooh, hustle of the week.
Before we move on, thank you guys. Thank you, Lunch Money Hustle. Thank you, Ryan from the Midwest. Thank you, Benediction with an A for your second E.
It's an E.
No, I looked it up. It's right. It's an A. I wanted to make sure we got it right. So yes, it is an A. Thank you guys for sharing your hustle of the week. Hey, by the way, if you got your hustle of the week, please DM us, tag us in a post, let us know. We'd love to share it.
Yeah, and tag other people in it too.
Yeah,
like share it with other people. Put like, hey, Pure Hustle Podcast, here's our hustle of the week, and tag your friends so your friends can go like, what?
Tag the CEO of eBay and Poshmark. Do it.
Tell them. Let them know. All right. Hustle of the week. Okay, mine is, I'm going to try and make it a short story because I don't want to go too long on this.
I think this is going to be our longest podcast.
It's wonderful. So here we go.
Okay.
There's this item, this toy that Walmart's had that I couldn't find anywhere else. You know the toy, and
that toy
is that toy. It's not the fingerling toy. It's a much better toy.
Fingerling toy.
So this toy was a limited quantity. Like you can only get a certain number of them at a Walmart. Okay, am I allowed to say the number? Is that too much info giving out? Okay,
they purposely did that too.
Okay, so it's limited to two per customer. Right?
Correct.
Like that's all you can get is two per customer.
But I have an offer.
You take that offer. Let me tell the story.
Okay.
So it's two per customer. So I end up going to this Walmart and it was like a hassle to like get them because they had this sign posted up. Like you had to go talk to people in electronics for it and they didn't know what it was. And so like finally.
Wait. Let's rewind a little bit. Oh, there you go. Got a sale.
You got the cha-ching.
Okay. I told Mike about this item. And I told him, I didn't necessarily tell him what store, but he assumes it's a certain store. So what happened?
So I went to a bunch of Targets looking for it. And I probably spent like a half hour arguing with the manager at one of the Targets that like, no, you have this thing. My friend was here and he bought one. Like, I know you have it. And they're like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I just wish I was there to see this.
And I'm like, call somebody else back because like I was told you have to go to electronics to get it, right? And like they're like calling people and they're like, we have no idea. And they're like trying to look the item up. I'm like, no, it's not on your website, but you have it here.
So Mike made a total fool of himself.
Yeah.
How many stores did you do this?
Just like two.
Oh, you went to two stores. Yeah. You only told me you went to one. So you went to two stores?
Just to check,
I'm sorry, man.
I checked it too. I feel
partly bad because I wasn't clear on what store. So I can see why that happened.
It's okay. Thank you for sharing with me, by the way. So anyway, so he tells me that, it's at Walmart, right? Like this isn't at Target. You got to go to Walmart. So I go to Walmart and finally I see the little stand that says go to electronics. So I go back there and it still took forever to get them. And then the guy would only give me one. I was like, no, the sign says two. And he's like, no, it's only one. And I'm like, well, give me your manager.
Wow, I can't stand it when people are like that.
Yeah, I said, bring your manager out here. And so he brings his manager out. And I even went over and took a picture of the sign that said two. Okay. Cause I'm like, it says two. And the manager's like, he's like whispering to the guy, he's like, the sign says two. And the guy's like, yeah. He goes, well, then give him two. So he gave me two.
But I still wonder what goes on in people's minds when they feel like they need to do that.
Yeah. They're saving.
Like there's some justice that they need to make sure happens. Like, sorry, it's just one of those things. Like they have to be hurting from something. Like they had a bad day or they had a break. I mean, like, I don't know. I struggle with that. Sorry. Don't mean to go on a rant. I know some of you agree with me, and some of you probably don't.
So more eBay.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So anyways, I get my items. I go home. I tell my wife I'm so excited about this. So now she knows to be looking for these, and she goes on her lunch to the same store, or actually she goes before work starts and she gets 2. Then on her lunch, she goes back over and there was a shift change, so she gets 2 more. Then she goes after work, and there wasn't a shift change and they recognized her, and so she left. Then
Wait,
she
what do you
goes,
mean they recognize her? How did they
well, like she
recognize her?
walks up and then the person behind her was like, "Oh, hey, it's you again." Right? And she's like, "Yeah, like just seeing if there was," and she just kind of like made small chat with them. And she even
She didn't try to still go for it?
no, well, what she did is when she was with one, she was trying to small chat and see like when the next shift change was. So she's like, "So you guys almost out of here?" Like she's really clever. In fact, most of this story is about my wife.
Strategic.
She's the hustler on this one. She was like a ninja. So here's what happens. So then I'm coming home from work and I picked up my son. I'm driving home and she decided to stop at another Walmart because like they were all sold out in their entire county. And so she stops at another Walmart and sees that they just got a shipment of them and they weren't locked up in electronics. They were out on the floor with no sign with a limit on it. Right.
Nice.
So she fills the entire cart up with like almost all
I
of
missed
them.
that Walmart.
You did. So she fills her cart up with these
I'm so
toys
jealous because I thought I got all of the ones in San
before he
Diego.
told me about it. So that's why I know. I even texted him. I said, "Would you feel bad if I told you we did pretty
I
good
remember.
picking them
I
up?"
remember.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't. I'm glad he got them.
Thank you. So anyway, so she fills her cart up and goes to the checkout, and as she's checking out, the register stops her. Right? It says limit 2.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot to tell her about that. And so she's like, "Well, there was no sign," because there was no sign. And they're like, "Well, sorry, like there's nothing we can do." She goes, "Well, just ring it up as separate transactions." And they're like, "No, we can't do that." And she goes, "But there was no sign." Like, so she like makes she's like wants justice, right? She's like, "I would get it if there was a sign there, I'd only get 2, but there's no like you're not advertising that there's a limit. Like, why can't I buy them?" So she has like the manager comes over, so like they know her now at the store at this register.
Ooh.
So she walks out, and then as she's walking to the car, she calls me and she's like, tells me the story. And she's like, "You know what? I think I'm going to go back into the other entrance because there's 2 entrances and 2 cash registers." And so she goes into that entrance, and they hadn't restocked the shelf yet because
You
there's.
know our friend who gets on our case about doing this?
Yeah,
she's listening right now.
I already told her the story. She cracked up.
Okay.
Probably thought I was a terrible person, but so my wife's on the phone with me and she's like, "Okay, they haven't restocked the shelves." Cause I told them, I was like, "Fine." Cause she was mad. She's like, "I'm not putting these back then. If you won't sell them to me, you're going to have to put them back." So she walks out and then she's like, "Man, I should have just went and put them back so I knew where they were." So anyways, she walks in.
See, that's what I did.
Really?
And that's why at that store, they like held them in the warehouse in the back because I refused to put them back.
Nice.
So that's why I lost out on those. Anyways, keep going.
So she walks by and sees them in a cart, like up by the register. So anyway, she's walking around the store looking for other stuff and then sees a guy putting stuff back and they were at like the bottom of his cart. Like they weren't even on the top. Like he had other stuff on top of him. So she's like stalking him around until he stocks the shelf. And she's on the phone with me this whole time. And I'm still driving because I'm like 40 minutes away where I have to pick up my son. And she's like, "All right, they're putting him back." So I'm getting like a play-by-play of what's happening here. And as soon as they put him back, she puts 4 of them in her cart. And
See,
she
isn't
goes,
that fun though?
It's great. So she puts 4 in her cart, goes to self-checkout and does 2 transactions, comes back in the other entrance.
Oh, she's a solo. Like this is all solo.
She, I think, got like 10 of these on her own. But then she's like, "Okay, I can't go back in. Like I've already been to like both entrances twice. Like I'm going to get recognized." She's like, "You've got to come." So like I came, parked my car next to hers. She took my son and was watching him. I went in both entrances and did it. So like, anyways, like between the 2 of us, we cleared the store out.
You're smarter than I am. I show up with all 20 whatever and show up at self-checkout and I just do 2 at a time, 2 at a time, 2 at a time.
Which I did with the last 4. I did 4 of them with 2 transactions. But going to, because they have 1 person at each self-checkout. So if you were to come back through relatively, in a short amount of time, they might be like, "Weren't you just here?" But yeah, we did. Each of us went to both self-checkouts. And then I did a couple transactions. She was like a ninja. I'm telling you, like she was like stalking the store. She's like, "Oh wait, there's the manager. I'm gonna hide behind it." Like, so she's like totally into this and I love it. I'm so proud of her.
I feel terrible that we have to go to these extents to like hustle these things.
But what our friend would say, who's listening to this and is cringing right now and thinking we're terrible people, she would say, like, "What about those parents that want to go in and buy this for their kid and they walk in and they're not there because we bought them all?"
They should have just hustled. That's all I can say. Like, it is what it is. Like, anyways.
I say.
No, we just lost like 100 followers right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I think about this either. Look, I'm trying to make money to pay my bills, okay? So,
It's
if
for
your
the
kid doesn't
kids,
get
for
their
my
toy
kids.
like, I'm sorry.
So, no, it's legit. Anyways, all right. That's a hustle.
It
That
was
definitely was a hustle.
ninja hustle,
Ninja
man.
hustle. All right, so mine was, I shared this in Insta story. So some of you have heard this, but just to give you more details. So my goal this past weekend was on Saturday was to hit 10 targets. So I hit the first 6 in the early part of the day, and then I was going to hit the last 4 at night because, the car was full.
Mm.
So I also had pre-ordered stuff on Target that there was only a limited supply, and I ended up getting like the last 6 in San Diego, whatever. I mean, they weren't the ones you were looking for.
Mm.
So I go and I'm just expecting to find the normal things I'm looking for because there's some they're not like hot toys, but they are going to make money in Q4. So I'm just looking for those items. I wasn't looking for anything really special this time around because the things that I was looking for was already at guest service waiting for me to pick up. So I show up and you know me, I'm not a big fan of clearance at Target, right? Because it floods the market, like everybody's getting the same items and then it's a race to the bottom. But I turn the corner and there's a 70% clearance. And there's like these items, there's like, I don't know, 30 something of them. And they're all selling for $5.98. And on top of that, there's the Target coupon where if you spend you spend $100, you get $25 off. And then I look it up on Amazon and the ranking's about 130,000, but it's Q4, it's going to sell. And they're selling for about $25. So in my mind, I'm like, hey, I can probably flip these in Q4 for $35 a piece, right? If I get them at, if you do the math, I don't know, what, $4 a piece or $3 something, that's pretty good ROI, and they're going to sell pretty fast. It's worth me investing in these items, unless the rest of the country is getting them at that cheap. And then, but you know what? It's not that huge of a loss, right? So I'm there and I'm like, oh no, but this has to be at the Target where they refused honoring prices. Like a few weeks before, there was discrepancy in all their price, and there still was this time around. But I went, and it's funny because have you ever seen at Target they have the employees have those 3-tier cards?
Yep.
So I went to one. I'm like, hey, can I just borrow this? It'll make. And they just looked at me and go, no. And like it wasn't like I would love to or sorry. It was just like no,
nope.
Get out of here, reseller. So I go to the front of the store and I grab a card and I just start loading it up and I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna be good. And this was a good experience because in the end, I'm probably gonna make. And there was those items and there are other items I picked up that also had a cartwheel offer. So if you haven't gone on Cartwheel has some discounts on toys every once in a while. So I was able to double my coupons. And here's the tip. When you go if the coupon comes again, don't do the cartwheel first because the cartwheel will knock your subtotal down, right? Do the toy coupon first and it'll knock it down and then do your cartwheel. Because if you do it the other way, it might not work.
Timing, man. It's important.
Does that make sense? So that's a hustle of the week tip.
Nice.
So anyways, long story short, at the same time, and I shared this in Insta story, but I want to share it again. There's another guy there, and I'm about to get the last 3 or 4, and he looks at me, he goes, oh, you're getting all of those over there? I'm like, yeah, I do this for a living. I'm a reseller. I got nothing to hide. I mean, what am I selling? It's for the local orphanage, So he goes, oh, okay. And then, so he starts just grabbing those last 3, 4. And I go, and he looks at me, I'm like, it's all good. Like, I already got a ton, no big deal. He goes, well, these are for Christmas gifts. And I was like, oh, good for you. Like, that's awesome. And so then I go to the registers and I'm doing self-checkout. And it's funny because the lady at the register was like, hey, you know what? Make sure you use your coupon in separate transactions. Like, they're super helpful. See,
right.
We get on Target's case, but they're really good to me at the store. Well, I go and one of my subtotals wasn't going to hit the mark for the coupon. So I'm like, oh, great. So I go back to toys. And sure enough, I look and this dude, like, by the armloads, is like grabbing toys from clearance, put them in his cart.
Like, not even doing any research, just assuming like.
No, he's not buying them for Christmas gifts. Like, the dude's a reseller.
Do you think he's like a reseller, like a legitimate reseller, or do you think that he just saw you doing that and thought like,
no, because he got on his phone right away.
Oh, okay.
And he was asking people like, what is this going for? I forgot to mention that, but he was trying to be like sly about it, right? So I'm like, whatever. All the stuff he bought was junk anyways. I'm all good. Like, you can go sell it at the flea market. That's good. I'm going to sell my stuff at Amazon, make good money. So hopefully, unless prices tank. So anyways, I go back to the register and sure enough, like, I ended up having no problem and I'm going to make $400 net. Now, here's the other funny thing. The items I was supposed to pick, I've only paid for 6. And they were so busy, the guy brought all of them out. So he brought out maybe 7 or 8. And he goes, here you go, sir. And I was about to walk out with 2 extra of them. And you know, then I had this ethical dilemma, right?
Oh, yeah. You can't do that.
You know, like, do I just walk out, like shoplift these toys?
Yeah, you can't do that.
I didn't do it.
You can't. I would have. If you did that, Orlando, I think I would take a
Pure
break
Hustle
from the
podcast would end.
podcast, and I would say it doesn't sound very pure to me.
It'd be the Mike Hustle podcast.
Yeah. We're pure for a reason.
So I told the guy, I go, hey, can you just look at my receipt and my transaction online and just make sure I paid for this amount? And sure enough, I didn't. So I bought the other one.
Good for you.
But that could have been
proud of you.
But that could have been another hustle.
No.
I know. I'm just messing around. No. You got to be ethical.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
No, I 100% agree. It's not in me to have walked out with those.
Yeah. I know it's not. I'm proud of you, Orlando. You're a good man.
So what was I? Anyways, I feel like I was this bad guy that just redeemed himself.
Yeah, that's kind of the story, right?
Oh my goodness.
You could have done something terrible and you didn't, so that's a good thing.
That is true. That's true. But I could have been like Jean Valjean, like in Les Miserables, like, you know, he steals bread for his family. I'm just messing around. No. Ethically would have been wrong if I had taken those extra items. Okay. Let's go to Bolo of the week.
All right, Bolo.
All right, I'll share my Bolo real quick here. And you've seen me post these, and I'm just going to give the brand name because, you know, there's a lot to go around. But Sorel boots, Sorel, like those will sell. Even if they're messed up. I mean, if the soles are like destroyed, they're not going to sell. But if they're, you know, there's like snow wear on there, if they're dirty, you know, some cosmetic issues, you know, if you can pick them up at a good price point, like $5, $10, even sometimes at $20, you can flip them from anywhere to 50 to 100 and maybe more, depending on the model. But I've sold probably 5 Sorel boots in the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
So they're definitely it's that time.
Yeah.
Right. And what they are, they're not like ski boots, but they're like winter, snow, inclement weather kind of stuff. So, you know, if you see them, pick them up. Sorel boots. What do you got?
It's good stuff. All right, mine. I know this because my wife collects Spode Christmas ornaments. She gets one every year.
Okay.
And I was out some garage sales and I saw several boxes full of various Christmas dishes. Some were Spode, some were another brand, another like a Japanese brand. And so because there were a lot of Spode in here, I was like, well, I'm going to pick these up. So I bought like these 3 boxes full of dishes, got home, cleaned them up. And already, like within a few days of posting them, I've already sold most of the Spode stuff.
Wow.
Spode, Spode. They make Christmas ornaments. They make Christmas dishware. Their logo is just like a Christmas tree with like, I mean, if you know Spode, look it up. If you see any of their stuff, Christmas stuff, it is like gold. People love it.
And you sharing it is what I love about reselling. Like, think about it. I'm talking about Sorel boots. You're talking about like dinner plates.
Yep.
Right? Other Bolos, you were talking about speakers. I was talking about like certain kind of Hawaiian shirts. Yep. Like, you know, we can share, but there's still going to be stuff out there. Like, I've never even heard of Spode before. Like that's incredible.
And think of how many you've passed up, and now you'll never pass up a Spode again.
Yeah, and you know what? I've done dinnerware before, and it's just, packing's not fun.
That's true.
That's the one thing I did. But ROI could be fire.
Yep.
If you get the right item.
Yep.
Okay, so what are you looking forward to?
All right. So for next week or this coming week, I'm looking forward to 2 things. One is going to some garage sales. I know that's kind of like a cheap answer, but this last weekend I was raining a little bit in San Diego, which, you know, wasn't what kept me out of garage sales, but I know that probably put a damper on some garage sales. And then I went and I had a videography gig, so I missed garage sales. And the whole time I'm doing the videography, I'm thinking like, this is great. Like, it's another job. I'm making money. It's hustling. But I'm also thinking like, oh, what if I'm passing up those Sorel boots right now?
Feeling.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's always tough to miss a Saturday, to lose a Saturday for whatever reason. And sometimes you do and you have to.
And it's beginning, the garage sale season part 2 for 2-3 weeks is starting up.
It's picking up. Yeah. So I'm excited to do some garage sales. And then the other thing, my wife and I are really taking Poshmark. We're trying to take it as seriously as possible. At 31 Treasure, 31, like the numbers 31 and then Treasure. And we are working on making a logo.
Just throwing it out there.
Just throwing it out there. Shameless plug. We're gonna work on making a logo and trying to actually, make it a thing, right? Because we're treating it like it's an online boutique, and we want it to be that, and share it with people as we meet with business cards and stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So 31 Treasure. Looking forward to it's just cool. I remember when we were doing the Pure Hustle podcast and making the logos and trying to come up with the business plan, and so that's gonna consume probably a lot of the upcoming week.
I'm just proud of you guys. I mean, think about it. At first, it was just eBay.
Yep.
Right? It was just you, right? And now your wife's involved, and now Poshmark is growing, and you're a Poshmark ambassador.
Yeah, Poshmark ambassador.
Right.
Which, honestly, I don't know. Maybe, everybody is, but it feels cool.
I know. So that's good. All right. So, this is what's weird. My helper's so good, I'm behind on my eBay listings.
So you don't have a death pile of items. You have a death pile of
I still got death
drafts that you have to.
Yeah, but I do have a death pile of drafts, and that's the crazy thing about this is that I'm soon gonna run out of items to drop off. So I haven't been thrifting as much, right? And so now I'm I have to intently buy things to make sure she always has stuff to do, right? And so it's a good thing. So my goal is I need to catch up. I think I'm gonna get to a place where I have no death piles. Which will be incredible.
That'll be great. Yep. Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, it'll be good. All right, our battery's about to die, so we got to cut this podcast short. Please make sure to follow us Instagram, Pure Hustle Podcast, Facebook, Pure Hustle Podcast. What are we on Twitter?
Pure Hustle Cast, at Pure Hustle Cast. Bing, bang, boom.
There you go. Make sure to give us a call if you want. 619-738-1170. Email us, purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. YouTube, subscribe to us, like us, hit the bell, comment. And we'd love to hear from you. Hey, hope you all are getting ready for Q4. You're prepping. You're prepping. Is that terrible? Is it that?
Yeah, you're fine.
You're preppy.
You're preppy.
Make sure you are prepping, getting ready, sourcing. Get out there. There's no better time than Q4 for reselling. So make sure to be real.
Be relevant.
Be reselling. Peace.